Hello all you Kingsmen. Welcome to this instructional video for building an axe throwing target. Our materials list is very simple. We're going to need 3 2x10s, 8 feet long, 8 2x4s, 8 feet long, and about 70 2.5-inch exterior screws. Now we're going to cut these all up using this sliding miter saw, but you could just as easily do it with a circular saw. Our cut list is as follows. We're going to have 5 2x10s 4 feet long for the target boards, 2 2x4s 7 feet long for the legs, 6 2x4s 43.5-inch long for the target backers, and 2 2x4s 4 feet long for the legs. I'm going to measure these all out, mark a perpendicular line on them to cut them straight across. Now we're also going to need, for these exterior screws, a T25 bit. Now I've got a piece of steel here, 1/4 inch in diameter, and I have a triangular file. So I'm going to file down 6 teeth out of this, rotating 1/6 of a turn at a time until we have our Torx bit. And there we go, almost to size. A couple of finishing touches. There we go, there's our completed Torx or T25 bit. I'm going to mark the feet, it's our 4-foot 2x4s, about 1 foot in, and make a perpendicular line, and that's going to be where our legs intersect. Now this is an important part in carpentry, and that's making a perpendicular joint. We're going to use Pythagoras and his theorem in order to do this. If our legs are A and B, and the hypotenuse between them is C, in order to make a right angle, Pythagoras says the length of A squared plus the length of B squared is equal to the length of C squared. And we could simply measure out our legs for this triangle, and it would tell us exactly how long our hypotenuse should be. The easier way to do this would be to use whole numbers. And there's a set of whole numbers, actually many sets of whole numbers, that will do this without any fractions or decimals behind it. One such triple would be 8 by 12 by 13. This is known as a Pythagorean triple. You'll notice I didn't add in any units. That's because the units don't matter. This is a proportion. So in this case I did 8 times 3 is 24 inches, 12 times 3 is 36 inches, and 13 times 3,
okay, act like tape
which is
measure.
39 inches.
Yes,
Yeah,
very
you
good.
can also do it with
Okay, thank you.
an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 13-year-old, and as you can see that worked just fine. So after I have squared up this leg and chopped off the angled board to the correct length, you can attach it permanently, and that will give us a perfectly right angle joint. Now here I'm doing the other leg, and you can see I've marked out 1 foot in to line up my leg. Attach my angled board to the very end so it will match the previous one. And now measure out. Now this time I'll use a different Pythagorean triple. 3, 4, 5. And in the same way, these are just proportions. So I'm going to go 3 times 8, 24 inches. 4 times 8, 32 inches. And now measuring across, if this is perfectly square, it will be 5 times 8, 40 inches. And as you see, it is. So I know that this is a perfectly right angle. And once I've established that right angle, I'll go ahead and attach these permanently. Now, in order to stand these up, it would be easier with a little bit of help, but a guy can do it by himself with a little bit of balance. This will be one of those 43.5-inch backer boards. I'm going to place it at the very top of the legs, oriented vertically, and secure it with a couple of those 2.5-inch screws on each side. Now I'm going to measure down. If you remember, my target boards were exactly 4 feet long, so I'm going to measure down 4 feet from the top, and that will be the bottom of the backer board on the bottom here. Also oriented vertically. Same thing with a little bit of help. This is a little easier. Now for each of these pieces of backer board, we're going to do another 2x4, horizontally oriented. And that will give our target boards a lot of stiffness. Drop as many screws on the ground as you can. You will no doubt find them with your truck tire later. Easy way to clean up the job site. Now these horizontally oriented backer boards ought to be secured not just to the legs, but also to the vertically oriented backer boards. I'm just going to use 3 screws to attach the boards together. Being sure to line them up with the front. And another screw on each end to attach these horizontally oriented backer boards to the legs. For the last backer boards, we don't really need a measurement, but you can go right near the middle. Before I put that in, though, I'm just checking to see if this is square. If it is square, then those diagonal measurements will be equal. And indeed it was square. It really doesn't have to be perfectly square for this. The important part is that it doesn't move forward and backward. Side to side is not a big deal. One last set of backer boards for the middle. And we'll be ready to hang our target boards. For the first target board, we're going to find the middle of our target. We're going to take the entire measurement and divide it in two. That'll be our middle. And then we're going to add on to that half of the width of the target board. Transfer that to the bottom also. Clamp it in place temporarily. And then add 6 screws through the back. We don't want to have screws through the front because an axe could hit one of those screw heads and it will chip the sharp edge. We don't want that. So we're hiding all of our screws from behind. The rest of the target boards will just be lined up. These things, if they're not perfectly straight, you can flip them around. Make sure that there is as little gap as possible between them. And continue on, 6 screws per board. Now, in order to make our target, we're going to make a little stencil, starting with a mark for the center. We're going to have lines at 2 inches, and then every 4 inches after that. So a mark at 6, 10, 14, and 18 inches. We'll make a little pocket to hold our marker. I've made big pockets because for a professional target they want you to use a 20 millimeter wide marker, and I've got one. It did not end up working, didn't have any ink left in it, so I ended up just using the original small Sharpie. But this stencil is reusable, so it won't hurt anything that I've made extra large notches. It was just a scrap sheet of plywood I had sitting around. Now we'll find the exact middle of the target. Vertically and horizontally. Temporarily screw our stencil into the center. And then we can use it as a compass. Just put our marker in the notch and spin it around. There will be 2 small targets. They call them kill shot areas. In the upper left and upper right of the outer ring. These will be 1.5 inches in diameter. So I've taken a plumbing fitting, which is 1.5 inches, and just traced around it. The bullseye will be painted red. And the kill shot areas will be painted blue. And that's our target complete. It's pretty heavy for one person to move by themselves, but it's easy enough to take the legs off. There are 9 screws on each side. And it can be moved pretty easily when it's taken apart. Next thing is to make ourselves a hatchet. So I'm just going to use this hatchet that I had to trace out a pattern on a scrap piece of wood. Very nice. Now we'll whittle it down to shape using this hatchet. A painstaking process, very accurate axe strokes. More accurate you are with the axe, the less sanding you have to do after. You see we've almost got it to shape, yeah, just shaving off the last little bit. Grinding the metal. Oh, perfect. All done, and now we have an axe. Now this hatchet, as you'll see, it has a pretty wide and blunt tip. This is made for chopping rather than sticking into a target. So we're going to take quite a bit of metal off of this to make the whole bit much thinner. I've just got a belt sander here, and I'm sanding metal off. Sharpen it up a little bit. And there we have it. You can see how much thinner it is now. And now a few safety recommendations. The edge is sharp. Don't touch it. Only throw one axe at a time and then retrieve it. If you hit the back of an axe, it will chip it. Only throw at the wooden target and nothing else. Make sure the lane is clear before throwing. Make sure to use proper throwing technique so that the axe sticks in the target and doesn't rebound. Only throw things at the target intended to stick in the target. The list of things not to throw includes hammers, plates, frisbees, chainsaws. Here's the proper way. From 12 feet away from the target, throw the axe vertically so that it makes one full rotation and strikes the target.
Good.
You can also throw with both hands straight over your head. Each player gets 10 throws per round, alternating turns. The rings are worth, from the middle, 6, then 4, 3, 2, and 1. The kill zones are worth 8 points, but you must call it first. If you hit it but don't call it, you only get 1 point. If you call it but don't hit it, you get 0 points. The score counts in the highest ring that any part of the axe blade touches. Good luck.